Hi guys, it's me again. I just want to read an essay that I wrote for one of my writing classes a few terms ago. Surviving the Storm. While many who have heard of Katie Piper know her only as the former London supermodel that was attacked with acid, what is not realized by most is the argument on how and why she has changed the lives of countless people across the world forever. After she recovered from 112 surgical procedures to repair the damage physically, she had to repair herself emotionally. However, this is not a transformation she faced purely for her own motives, as many have interpreted, since Katie Piper made a foundation to help other burn victims with their self-esteem, to give advice and help financially. Also, the courage, strength, and determination that she has demonstrated by sharing her story of recovering from a life-changing incident and the way it had affected her life has persuaded countless people by providing that tragic experiences need not cease a person's purpose for existence. After unbelievable amounts of surgery and recovery, she began the Katie Piper Foundation, which is dedicated to help people living with disfigurement, and this action has given her positive strength to endure how her life has drastically been transformed, since she can no longer be a supermodel. However, Katie did not begin the organization for selfish reasons, since from her personal experience with surviving the storm of tragedy and recovery, she realized the vital need for the network her foundation will now provide for everyone. Since her physician sent her to a specialist rehabilitation clinic in France for scar therapy, Katie realized the valuable importance of creating this level of patient care management in the United Kingdom, where Miss Piper is from. Yet the foundation unexpectedly has grown and expanded across the world, supporting countless burn victims through inspiring and enabling all of them to share their stories with each other. This provides support, empathy, acceptance, and far more than words can express. Some ways in which Katie Piper has changed countless people's lives physically, improving self-esteem, is through the amazing financial assistance that her foundation offers to victims just like Katie. As she has said in an interview from Daily Mail, "I'd been inspired to set up the charity by the treatment I'd had in France and wanted to raise money to make it available to more people in Britain and run workshops on things like applying camouflage makeup." From her own journey, Miss Piper had discovered the utmost necessity of having this specialized treatment for all who have been traumatized and disfigured, since it assisted in normalizing her life again. She helped explain this when saying, "I was no longer scared to step out of the door. It felt like I had my life back." Katie focused on raising funds to repair damage to victims, not because she was a supermodel, but since she knew that loneliness and isolation is a huge problem for those with facial disfigurements and injury. Another method for gradual recovery from tragedy that Katie chose to change herself and so many other people is by creating the amazing network of burn victims through her charity, which provided everyone involved with structure and purpose. As Katie's dad kept telling her, "You have to be positive and think about how you can make things better." And Katie adopted the mindset of, "I won't be a victim, I'm going to be a survivor." This sense of seizing control of her life motivated Miss Piper to establish her foundation for other burn victims. And she thought, suddenly, I didn't feel so alone. Most victims of facial injuries and disfigurement tend to retreat from the world, but Katie fought back. She helped describe the priceless support her charity can give to others when Katie said, meeting people like me, suddenly I was no longer embarrassed about my looks. In the area of healthcare, Katie Piper has also proved herself to be far more than just a once glamorous face that was dramatically damaged by an acid attack. And she has forever impacted tons of people's lives in an extreme way by involving her foundation in regulating patient care for burn victims. Miss Piper has dedicated much of her time to launch her charity to improve rehabilitation facilities for burn survivors in the UK through the Katie Piper Foundation. During another article in Daily Mail, Katie explains that there is a 2-year window of opportunity to work on scar management after a burn. Therefore, it is of the utmost importance that victims utilize the assistance that Katie's charity provides in helping to pay for expenses involved in burn or scar rehabilitation. In fact, many countries have a strong prejudice or even cultural bias against people who are disfigured. So this adds to the significance of Katie's promotion of supporting burn victims. Through her determination to provide support for people who suffer as she did, Miss Piper will forever be remembered for how she has changed immeasurable lives by making a difference in the treatment of burn victims' health care. The Foundation's long-term goal is to build a clinic in Britain that will be similar to the specialized one that Katie went to for her physiotherapy in France. Once Katie returned home from the hospital after many surgeries to rebuild her face, she had the opportunity to change numberless lives by courageously facing her fears through pressing charges against her attacker and the person who hired them. Daniel Lynch, Katie Piper's ex-boyfriend, had attempted to destroy Katie's life and steal her beauty forever by hiring a man to throw sulfuric acid into her face. Before this incident, Lynch had raped Piper and threatened her to never tell anyone what happened between them afterward. Confronting the terrible monster who had attempted and nearly succeeded in ruining her entire world would be a matter that Katie could have easily walked away from. However, she stated, I knew it was time to take my life back. After an unimaginably grueling trial, her ex got 2 life sentences. The horrific experience that Miss Piper had undergone left her incredibly traumatized. As she stated before, if a drop of cream fell onto my skin unexpectedly, I would scream as it reminded me of the acid dripping down me. Yet Katie bravely and boldly fought her fears to ensure that justice was done. And this has shown similar victims that it is possible to stand up for your rights and not to live in fear forever. Although many people that are familiar with the story of Katie Piper will perceive her only as the once-stunning British supermodel who was horrifically scarred by a vicious acid attack, there are infinite lives in the world that have been and will continue to be greatly persuaded forever by her legacy of transforming the argument over the way people view and treat burn victims. Despite the seemingly impossible odds, Katie made an incredible recovery, established a foundation for victims like her, created a network for people to share their experiences and support each other in many ways, rallied for financial support for people with facial disfigurements and injuries who cannot afford treatment, and demonstrated for victims how to fight back when she faced her own assailants. Katie words her accomplishments best by saying, "What happened to me made me a different but a better person, and I have a role to play in helping others. If I can do that, the suffering my family and I have been through won't have been in vain." Thank you.